is, would you like look at them or like look at a woman watching this and say that like you are your own beautiful?
Yes. Why are you saying that? We're back together again. It's been a while, right?
We've stayed married.
Oh, yes, that part.
Yeah.
Yes, we've stayed married for sure.
Yes,
but
we have.
and we're actually very happily married. We just haven't been on a video together in a while.
I thought you have to say that.
YouTube comments, they're wild sometimes. But for those who have no idea who we are, my name is Chelsea.
My name is Nick.
And we're married. We've been married for
3 years, over 3 years.
Yes, and we have a little baby, Hudson. He's about to turn 1, and it's crazy. Like, we could probably cry on the spot right now just thinking about how much time has gone by so fast.
Yeah.
We were talking about how much, like, just talking to different couples really, like, lights up our personal life. Like, we love, like, going out to dinner, hanging out with our friends. We were hanging out with another couple friend last night. We were at Texas Roadhouse, which is one of our faves. We just enjoy that conversation so much, and we were just kind of talking about how we want to bring more of that to video, just really having a conversation with you guys. And we understand that not all of you guys are married, not all of you are parents, and a lot of you are aspiring to be married one day. And so for this video, I'm gonna kind of talk to Nick about what godly guys are looking for. Our worth should never ever come outside of what Christ thinks of us and the purpose that he gives us in our lives. But it is really helpful and beneficial to kind of know like a guy's perspective, normal guy who lives his life for other things versus a guy who lives for the Lord.
I'm excited for this. I think this is a really helpful topic for a lot of people, and I think that I'm glad that we didn't do this video when I was 19, 20. I mean, I don't think that those things that I think you intuitively look for have changed much, but I do think that they've changed some.
I mean, our advice and videos we used to do together, like if we were to redo them now, we'd probably be like, oh my gosh, we've learned so much, gotten so much perspective, and we have matured a lot.
But you know what? Even if we did it right now again, we'd say the same thing in 2 or 3 years.
Right, because we're always growing.
Right, and so you can never beat yourself up for what you knew then and just trying to communicate that.
Right. I'm going to start off by
kind
of opening it up from a question on Instagram. We got a ton of them, and we want to kind of get your guys' feedback and get you involved in the video as well. But I'm also going to ask questions that I wish I knew before getting married, before like seriously dating. This question is somewhat relevant, I think pretty relevant to where we're going. But this says, how did you know that marriage was coming for you? I've recently had dreams of it.
To answer your question directly, I know what you're getting at. I think the way that you know that marriage is something that is potentially on the timeline or on the horizon is that you and someone else have found one another and you've fallen in love, and you see that that person has great character, they have sound, stable character, they have great integrity, they're very honest, they're kind. That's one that I don't think enough people talk about, is that you need to find someone who is kind to you, because you will need the kindness of that person at some point in marriage. Or every day in marriage. I mean, if we're honest, you need someone who's really kind and someone who's understanding. And it doesn't mean that there won't be moments where someone's mad or someone's upset. Those times are sure to happen. But you need someone who's tenderhearted and kind. So when you find that kind of person, I mean, you obviously, the big idea here is someone who is deeply in love with God, someone who deeply loves Jesus. And all those other things that I previously mentioned will be an overflow of a life that happens as a result of loving God. So, yeah, when you find that kind of a person, then I think it's fair to say, okay, maybe marriage is an opportunity on the horizon here.
And like that you're ready personally. And you're somebody that fits all those bills as well. I guess we'll steer the conversation in the direction of what exactly godly guys, from my husband's perspective, are looking for. So if I could look back and talk from the perspective of single me and being out there wanting to date, but not necessarily knowing, you know, do I put myself out there?
No, you just call my phone number.
Okay.
That's all.
What a guy like you would be necessarily like looking for first? Like, what's the first thing that you would be desiring to see in like another woman's character? Because of course I think we could go to the topic of like looks and attraction, but that is a given. I feel like we don't even need to spend time there because obviously that's a part of things.
Sure.
But like maybe 1 or 3, you know, because I know you'll probably give a few things that you look for.
I do want to mention this on the beginning. I think that anytime someone watches a video like this, there can be potential to try and gain understanding inside the mind of the opposite gender's process, like mental process or heart process, so that they can then go and change the way that they live or change the way that they act or think or talk or whatever in order to attract that other person. I don't want you to do that. I want you to be uniquely 100% you and just have an understanding of how another person's mind works, so that when potentially someone is attracted to your character and your life and, you know, your way of living, you can see that there is an attraction happening between both sides, rather than let me go and change how I operate and how I live so that, you know, I can go and draw in the fish that I want.
That's good. I think like viewing that video in that light, this video in that light, is helpful rather than harmful, because it could potentially be harmful.
I just want you to see what God is maybe trying to do versus like trying to force your hand in a situation. And I love what a friend of mine told me today. He said, God is most glorified by an oak tree when that oak tree is fully an oak tree, versus like it trying to be something else or it attempting to be. So like you got to be uniquely you. That's the first thing. So to answer your question directly, when it comes to character, when it comes to someone else's character, the biggest thing I look for in someone else's character, one thing is maturity, and then the other thing is honesty. So, and then you can usually gauge one by means of the other. So if someone is very honest and they don't dance around questions and they have some sense of like having their junk together, like having their life together, you know, they're not out 3 Fridays a month or 4 Fridays a month and, you know, every weekend partying and just getting crazy. Like, you know, they're good with their money, not in the sense that like, oh, they're wealthy and you need to look for a bankroll in the person that you are with, but like, how do they spend their money? You can usually tell someone's heart posture by how they spend their money and what they spend their money on and that sort of thing. So those are just a couple of the things that I look for in like character. Mostly honesty. Like, and can someone answer hard questions? Are they mature enough to answer hard questions? Because sometimes you'll throw questions at people that aren't even like really hard questions, and it's like, I don't know, like, oh, I don't really think about it. You know, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it shows that you haven't thought about it because your character reflects that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a bad thing if you're just not at that stage yet. But if you're seeking out someone who's mature and you're not that, that's kind of tough, you know?
Yeah, and as you're speaking, I'm kind of thinking of other comments that I've gotten in the past of other women who say, where did you guys find these godly guys? Because it seems like in my area or where I live or the guys that I've met, there's definitely no godly guys out there. Like, there's just a lot of discouragement within the hearts of a lot of women that think that there aren't guys out there that are truly wanting to live for the Lord and also do that alongside another woman. Just speak to that for a second. Yeah,
I'll speak to it. That's a total lie. That's just not the truth. The truth is that there is no godly guys that fit all the extra check marks that you want them to check. Like, are they, let's get real, are they super attractive? Do they maybe drive I'm not saying this for everybody. I'm just saying this is like some people. Like, are they really attractive? Do they come from a lot of money? Do they have a lot of money? Do they drive a really nice car? Do they own their own home? do they have an 855 credit score, if that was possible?
Okay.
Like, so I'm just being for real. Sometimes there's a lot of these like extra metric, like, do they have blonde hair? Do they have blue? Like, there's a lot of these extra metrics that are really existent when people say, oh, there's just no godly guys, because there totally are. It's just like you haven't found one that fits all those extra things that you're looking for. Now that's okay. If you want all those, I mean, I think there's a line to where it's
that may not
greed.
be the case for most people.
No, and it's probably not. But to say that, oh, there's just no godly guys in my city or in my town, I don't think that's fully true. But to be quite honest with you, we didn't find each other in the same region of the nation. So it's okay to branch out a little bit. I lived in Florida, Central Florida. You lived in freaking Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay? So people were talking about, you can't find somebody. Like, I remember people like, you can't find somebody who lives a little closer? And part of me wanted to be like, that was the goal. I don't want nobody from around here. So I would just give you a license to say that it is completely 150,000% okay to go and find somebody who maybe doesn't live in your local area or in your local town or in your local city. And if you can't find that person who like uniquely fits you and the things that you're looking for and the type of character or man or woman that you're looking for, I think it's okay to, like, you know, maybe expand your horizons. Maybe look at the next town over, or like the next city or that universe. Like, it's okay. I think it's okay to do that. I don't think that there's any problem with expanding your horizons a bit. I surely expanded my horizons. You know how like sometimes you got them little Facebook marketplace regions, like 5 miles, 10 miles? I just hit nationwide. Typed in godly woman, and she popped right up.
It's funny. Yeah,
That's
if you guys don't know this, but
that's not how it happened.
We met on Twitter, so we both don't use Twitter anymore. Love how that works.
We've switched because my arm was getting tired. I do want to say though, I always want to believe, and I always try my best to believe that people have the best intentions when it comes to questions like these. So I in no ways mean to like disparage anyone else's character by saying, you know, there's extra thing, and that's why you're not, you know, like, that's not my heart. My heart is to say, like, I just want to help you open your eyes to realizing that there probably are godly men or women, if you're a guy watching this, in your area.
Yeah.
And it's okay if they don't fit the bill for someone that you want to be with. But like, that can be true, and at the same time it can also be true to say, like, oh, but there are godly people. It's just they don't fit the bill for someone I would want to be with. And that's totally okay. Those two things can exist at the same time, and they can be okay. So
I think that's why it's so cool to, like, see how the church works with, even if you aren't necessarily dating somebody, but you have like a group of guy and girlfriends and you're all hanging out, and you get to see how other godly women and men operate and how you all live together and separately. And within those groups, I can imagine a lot of marriages have happened just simply like hanging out with other friends that they had in common. That's just how the church works, you know, like, we're all over, and I just think that's really cool. So this is a really great question. It's by Carly. I'm not sure if she's dating or if she's just aspiring to be married one day, but she says, how to prepare for marriage spiritually.
Ooh, wow. The very first thing that pops in my head is to do what David did, not in the Bathsheba sense, but in the sense that I love what David said in the Psalms. He said, give me clean hands and a pure heart.
Yeah.
And search my heart and see if there be any wickedness or any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. So the two things there is, like, what am I doing with my hands, and then what am I allowing into my heart?
That's good.
And so making sure that the things I'm doing with my hands are honorable, that they're pure, that they're right. And then the posture of my heart, the things I'm allowing into my heart, the things I'm allowing myself to see or to believe, all those things need to be pure as well. And then if there's anything that's like not right, man, ask God to
remove it or make it right.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. And I would echo that same thing, but I also would take advantage of the time you're in now spiritually, like with your friends. I feel like there's such uniqueness in that time as far as like preparation, with other married couples that are older, with other married couples that may be around your same age, and just like ask them a lot of questions. I feel like we asked so many questions to other married friends that we had that were older, and it helped us so much like get prepared for that time, because we just didn't settle for like what our perspectives were going to be, but like multiple different versions of like the same question. You know,
have a curious nature. If you're curious, then ask. And then I think what was I gonna say? Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Sorry. I made the mistake personally of believing that in marriage, spiritual disciplines, which everyone loves to talk about, it's their favorite subject, it's a joke. I made the mistake of believing that spiritual disciplines would just kind of like form out of thin air the second that we put rings on our fingers and said I do at an altar. And I just got to tell you, that is not the truth. So if you both can form spiritual, and most people believe that they have spiritual disciplines, but really what they have is like seasonal spurts of motivation in their spiritual life. They don't have like discipline. Like I do this every day at this, like it is constant. Like just like I breathe air and eat food, like I do this every day with the Lord. And so if you can develop those things in your life, whether you're single, whether you are, you know, dating, or you're kind of somewhere in between, like you're just feeling it out, or you're engaged, like whatever, if you can develop those real like disciplines in your life now and take that into marriage, man, that's gonna be huge. We got the showstopper in the house.
Seriously, like my train of thought has gone off the rails. I'm like, oh man. That's why it's like we can only film during his naps.
You see all the people? You see all the people? Say hi. Hi, people.
I think another thing that other women I know have asked questions about is like the little things about their appearance, like if they matter. For me, I had certain insecurities about like what my future husband would think about like intimate parts of me, you know, like the little quirks of how God made my body unique to me. I thought that because I was insecure about them, surely my husband wouldn't like them or think that they're beautiful. And I feel like you could really speak to that particular thing, because most likely out there has something that they don't necessarily like about their body. And they think that their future husband will have the exact same perspective, and even from a guy's perspective.
I was like about to say, just to free you up a little bit, every guy has the exact same thing going on in their brain too. I know that that's like hard to believe, but it's the truth. But I do want to answer your question directly. I think that if someone is committed to you and someone loves you uniquely for who you are as an individual, and not just like, you know, the sexual parts of a person. I don't think that it's gonna matter, because they're already so committed to you and they're so like invested in you and they care about you so much that they're gonna find you beautiful no matter what. So and it's not as though like they're gonna pass it off, or like they're just not gonna mention it or overlook it and just like never tell you, but they're secretly gonna think like so. I don't think that's the truth. I really do believe that like if they're the right person, they're gonna fully appreciate the gift of a spouse that God has given them and the entirety of it. So like, you know, they're gonna love you mentally, they're gonna love you emotionally, they're gonna love you spiritually. They're going to love you physically. And I think all of those components go into, like a proper marital relational love for a spouse.
Didn't even see the things that I saw as flaws. He saw them like as like unique, like beauty, if that makes sense. And I just think that like just remembering that God has the mind of your spouse in mind as well, and like what you are most likely insecure about, they will think is beautiful, which is crazy to think about sometimes, because sometimes we can be in our head so much about things. But just have comfort in that, because like you are uniquely beautiful, and there is another uniquely crafted person out there.
Would you say, it's a question for you now, kind of flipping it back on you, would you say that every person, particularly the women, because that's going to be the primary audience here, would you say that every woman is would you like look at them, or like look at a woman watching this and say that like you are your own beautiful?
Yes. Why are you saying that?
This will be the last thing I say. I had they weren't even really a mentor at the time, more of a friend now. Yeah, I don't know. I had a friend early on when I was first beginning to preach. He told me that however critical you are of yourself after you preach, because all preachers are kind of critical of themselves, like in their communication, whatever. He was saying you will always be the most critical of yourself, but take comfort in that, because no one had the expectations of you that you had of you. So if you like find flaws and you find like this and that or whatever about yourself, like I would, if it were me and I were in your shoes, I wouldn't stress out about it too much, because every single person has these expectations of themselves that no one else has of them. No one else is putting as much pressure on you as you're putting on you. I think that's the cleanest and simplest way to say it. So yeah, I would end it there.
Yeah, there's so many other things we could get into, but we might like make this a form of a series potentially. So just let us know what your thoughts are on it, because there's so many more things we could get into. But
yes. We have a wiggly worm.
Yes,
if you
and
cannot
we have
tell.
to tend to the wiggly worm.
Hey, you want to bark at me? Let's see if you'll bark.
Hudson.
Hudson. Nope. He's acting like he's still kind of tired.
Well, yeah, he didn't sleep for very long.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. I know that I don't sit in every single video anymore, but the times that I do come on, I really love it, because I feel like it's meaningful, and this is the kind of content that really resonates with me. Like, I love vlogs and I love doing all that fun stuff, but this is where I really feel like I'm at home.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really glad that you guys came and stopped in and watched this video. And if you liked it, leave it a like, leave it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I love like what you've been doing recently, just like how you've been really creative in some different things on the channel. It's been really kind of refreshing and cool. So,
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Because we love talking about marriage. We really think that there's so much meaning and purpose in having conversations like this.
Yeah.
So.
We might, I don't know, we might make something sometime about marriage and that sort of thing that people can
consume.
Yes, yeah.
Hint.
Yeah. So
talk about that later.
Yeah, that you know, that might come another day, but not today.
Say bye, friends. Say bye, Hudson.
Ooh. Gosh, look at those eyes, man.
Say bye, friends. Bye.